It's one thing to experience a concert, it's another thing to be on stage. Hey everyone, Brendan the Blind Guy here, and welcome to the Boombox.
God, just give me that. Boom, boom, boom. Just give me that. Boom, boom.
So one minute, I'm in the crowd, and next minute, Chris Martin's admiring my rings up on stage. I mean, of course, when Coldplay came out in 2024 for the Music of the Spheres World Tour and performed at Accor Stadium in Sydney, on the fourth night, I went along to the show, and during which, you know, Chris Martin was strutting around the stage, doing his thing, just like really blowing audiences away with, like, if anyone knows what a Coldplay show is like, you know that they just own it and they just connect with the audience on a really special level. Next thing I know, so in between songs, Chris Martin's on the walkway looking for, he's like, okay, where's that guy with the sign? Where's the guy? And my friend's just like, yeah, he's over here, over here. And then all of a sudden, Chris Martin's looking at my sign and he's like, drumstick for blind guy, please. Oh yeah, I've never had a blind person on stage before. You want to come up? And then I'm like, holy shit. So then, of course, I'm like finding my way over the barrier, and security are like just escorting me while I'm just like, is this real? Is this actually happening? You know, surely this is a joke or something. And then before I know it, I'm climbing up the stairs and I'm like, this is actually happening. And then my left foot like misses the top stair. And I remember thinking, as I'm like stumbling, I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna hurt so much and be so embarrassing. But Chris Martin to the rescue, he's like, ooh, careful, watch out. And he's like hoisting me up on the stage. And I didn't hear it at the time because I had my earplugs in, but listening to the recordings, he's like, you are actually blind, right? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure I just proved it then by like stumbling up the stage, but yeah, you know, okay. And it was just like, holy shit. And I was able to give him a massive hug. And then he's just leading me somewhere and I'm feeling like out with my right hand as I do because I'm blind. And then all of a sudden my hand is like touching his piano. And then he's getting me to sit down next to him at his piano. And, you know, he's showing the audience my sign and reading, you know, it out of what it says and introducing me to the audience. And all the while I'm just like, holy shit, I'm actually on stage with Chris Martin. And the funniest thing was that while we were sitting there at his piano, because, you know, I'm already blind as a bat and this, you know, massive lights just in my eyes, for all I knew, it could have just been me sitting next to Chris Martin one-on-one in a small pub. Like, that's the advantage of being blind, I guess. I couldn't see that 70,000 people were looking at me. So, like, a split second in my mind while I've got my arm around these sweaty shoulders, a split second, just this really evil part of my brain is just like, I wonder how it would like go down if my hand just slipped to his ass, just so I could say that I felt Chris Martin's ass. And I'm like, probably best if I don't pull something like that off. No, I'm gonna stick with having my hand around his shoulders. And so, yeah, and then he was, you know, like, what song do you want to hear? You know, what song should we play? And I'm like, what's a song that I can like confidently sing the lyrics to, because I don't want to be made a fool up here. So of course I just said Fix You, even though I knew that that would be coming later in the set. And then of course he says that's later in the set, and then proceeds to play Don't Panic off their first album. And then, yeah, of course I ask if, before he starts, of course I ask if we can get a selfie, you know, because I'm just like, I've got to try. And he's like, oh, no, I don't, I think he's said something like, oh, no, I don't think the audience will wait or whatever. But while I've got my arm around him, I'm like, I'm just going to kick myself if I don't try. And so I just whipped my phone out and I stared towards where my hand is, and I'm like, I hope this comes out all right. And that was the biggest fluke ever. Like, often I've had people say, why does a blind person take the best selfies? But this was like just rushed in the moment, the best selfie I've ever done. So it was just the best night of my life, hands down. Okay, now I'm going in for the kill. Okay, I am mean 30 Seconds to Mars in their 2014 Love, Lust, Faith Plus Dreams tour. Now, so when I was at their Sydney show at the old Sydney Entertainment Centre, I was at the barrier at the end of the catwalk coming out of the middle of the stage. And this was the first time I ever used my Drumstick for Blind Guy Please sign that I've currently got. And so just to prove how blind I am, and just to clarify, I didn't do this on purpose. During one of the songs when Jared Leto was at the end of the runway, I could just see this shape that resembled a person, and of course the crowd are cheering around me, so I assumed it was Jared. So I held up my sign, and then my friend next to me said that he was doing this because she's like, he wants you to turn the sign around the right way. Yeah, of course I'm holding up the sign back to front, nothing on it. So then I'm like, oh, okay, quickly flipped it around. During the song, Jared's like, Drumstick for Blind Guy. Wait, stop the song, get him up here. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm like, I'm not waiting for security to come and try and drag me out. I like hoisted myself up, and then security came over and like, wait, no, because they're worried that I'm just gonna fall straight on my face. That would be pretty hilarious, I've got to say. So then I got out of the crowd, and then I'm like, how the hell am I going to get up on stage? So then security had to give me a hoist on their knee, and so I felt so sorry for the guy because, as you can see, I'm, overweight. But, whatever. And so I got up on stage so elegantly, ended up just sliding on my stomach and then like picking myself up like that. Yeah, I'm awesome. Yeah, cool, whatever. And then Jared's brother on drums, Shannon Leto, came up to me and handed me a drumstick. And because my hands were like shaking because I'm like, oh my God, I'm up on stage, I dropped the drumstick. And of course it rolls off the stage and security had to pick it up. And it was like, yeah, I just wanted the band to hand it to me again. I did that on purpose. And then I am up on stage and I can just see this light in this like mass of openness in front of me. And I'm like, wow. And I've got my earplugs in. Then all of a sudden there's a microphone in front of my mouth. And I'm like, oh shit, what did he say? I thought, I'm not going to make a fool out of myself by pulling my earplugs out and go, oh, sorry, I didn't hear you. What did you say? And I'm like, okay, well, whenever I've been to a show that the band has invited someone up on stage, the first thing they ask is, what's your name? So I just said, I'm Brendan. And there was no laughing. There was nothing amiss. And I'm like, I think I pulled it off. All good. Crisis averted. So then, Jared grabs my sign and holds it up for everyone. And then he proceeds to play the song from where he left off. The song was Do or Die, which I intend to get a 30 Seconds to Mars tattoo with Do or Die written, because it was one of the best moments of my life. Jared rocking out with me for the rest of this song. He had his arm around me, singing into the microphone, like getting me to sing in the microphone, as much as I probably sounded like shit. But it was like absolutely incredible. The adrenaline rush, getting to rock out with Jared Leto on stage, and then after the song, I was being led to the back of the stage, and I was trying to tell the person, tell Jared, thank you so much, but I was literally speechless, and I probably sounded drunk, because I was like, tell Jared, and he's probably like, yeah, okay, mate, you need to sober up. That might be the reason why he actually, like, didn't put me back in the crowd, but actually put me in the cordoned off section on the side of the stage where the VIPs were. So that's where I got to watch the rest of the show from. Again, one of the best nights of my entire life. Now to finish up with One Step Closer to Glory. And I'm talking about Linkin Park on their 1,000 Suns World Tour, their last headline tour ever in Australia before Chester Bennington passed away, sadly. Now, this is the first time I ever saw Linkin Park live, yes, blind pun intended, and I was 16 at the time. This was in 2010, and so at their first Sydney show, I was a part of their fan club, Linkin Park Underground, and luckily I was accepted into the fan club meet and greet, which was like, oh my god, I get to meet my all-time favourite band. This is just like mind-blowing. And so and I was talking to security, well, my mum was talking to security in the venue to get accessibility help and everything. So security were helping me out with everything, like getting into the meet and greet and then into a safe and suitable standing position in the audience afterwards, because the meet and greet was during the support band. So during the meet and greet, I remember getting to Mike Shinoda at the signing table and just saying to him, oh my god, like, it is such an honour to meet you, especially because next time you're in the country, I'll likely be completely blind, so thank you so much. And I remember he shook my hand, and at the time, I could see this radiant smile he gave me, and he just said, oh, thank you so much, it's so good that you're here, mate. And I was just like, wow. Okay, and when I got to Chester at the finally at the end of the table, being 16 and a bit insecure with everyone teasing me at school and everything, I remember saying to him, oh my god, I'm not gay, but can I please give you a hug? You're my all-time effing hero. And I remember he gave me a look like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, you don't have, you just because you want to give me a hug doesn't make you gay. Of course, I'd, figure that out, in, future growing up, but, whatever. So I actually got to give my all-time favourite hero a hug, which was so incredibly special and a moment I'll never forget. So then during the show, I got to the front barrier off to the left-hand side, and during the song Crawling, Chester came off the stage and he was leaning into the crowd singing it, and he noticed my cane, so he came over to me and he actually put his arm around me, and we were both singing into the microphone for a couple of seconds. Like, oh my god, like, to sing with my all-time hero, it was just holy shit. And then after that, I noticed a security guard coming up to me, and I thought, oh, okay, is he going to tell me to stop recording or whatever? No. He came up to me, leaned in and said, hey, I'm Brad Delson's bodyguard, and Brad Delson's invited you up on stage for the Catalyst. And I'm like, oh my, and he's like, if you want to come up. And I'm like, yeah. So, yeah, I go to jump out, and he's like, no, wait, we're going to get you up for the Catalyst. Just wait here, I'll come and get you later. And I'm like, oh my god. So he came back later, and he's like, okay, we're not going to get you up for the Catalyst, we're going to get you up for the final song, okay? And just wait here and we'll get you out then. When the band came back on stage for, their encore, the guy came up to me and helped me get out of the stage. And so they did a 3-song encore. I remember it was Numb, then What I've Done, then Bleed It Out. So he got me out of the crowd during Numb, and I was waiting off to the side of the stage where it was just incredible noticing that all of the roadies were switching guitars and getting them tuned and everything. It was like, wow, getting to be up close to witness, all of this production with so many guitars and the automatic tuners and everything. And then halfway during what I've done, the second last song, the bodyguard walked me up on stage and I started throwing up my arms thinking, okay, am I going to be rocking out on stage? But no, the guy pulled me over to the side of the stage, on the stage, where they set up a seat where I got to watch the last 1.5 songs from on the stage, which was holy shit enough as it is. Phoenix, the bassist, was playing near me, and I remember during one of his songs, one of the last 2 songs he was playing, and he gave me one of his picks that he was using and just got out another one so casually. And I was like, wow. The head of security was just like amazed, because he said, it's not because you're blind, mate. He's like, because I've had people, he's like, I've been a security guard for 20 years, 10 years at the time Acer Arena, now Kudos Bank Arena. I've been 10 years at Acer Arena, and I've had kids come here with 6 months to live, and they've got to meet the band, but they've stayed in the audience for the whole show. No, it's not because you're blind. You've struck a chord with the band, so something I did in the meet and greet really connected with the band on a personal level, and that just lit the spark in my heart for future comments, and why I've got this tattoo of a dragon holding a Linkin Park symbol. And love you and miss you, Chester. It really feels like I've lost a long lost friend, even though I only met them twice in that Thousand Suns World Tour visit, but just I hold on to that in my heart for the rest of my life, and thank you so much, Chester. So as always, thank you so much everyone for watching. Keep the likes, comments, sharing and subscribing. Absolutely love it. And until next time, keep a keen eye for concerts and bring on the boom.
God, just give me that.